What's up, creepers and geekers? Chris, the Atari Creep. How is everyone doing today? I can't even speak. I had coffee. And I'm not going to edit out every time I take a sip of coffee. I did that in the last video, which, by the way, was a few minutes ago, and that's why I got shaky cam. Because I didn't like how I had the camera set up then. So I brought out my stupid little tripod with the bendy legs. Now I remember why I don't use it too often. But either way, guys, I want to talk about, as usual, what could have been, but of course didn't become. A couple of videos back, if you recall, I reviewed this thing. It's the 8-in-1 Super Game handheld game console. I got this for $5 at Five Below, and it turned out to actually be a very decent handheld game console. The kids have been having a lot of fun with it. My old lady's been having fun with it, and I've been having fun with it. It's very simple, and the games on here are pretty cool. There are two in particular. You'll have to watch the video to see what ones I'm talking about, that I was not only pleasantly surprised by, but I would like to see on a cartridge. They were that good. But I made a comment in there, actually two, that's relevant to today's video. That one, if Atari were to have done handhelds aside from that Touch Me thing, this is what I pictured. You know, this kind of display, I should say, not this quality. I also mentioned, because Space Invaders could have worked on that, I thought maybe the shooter game was going to be like a Space Invaders clone. Turned out not to be. Turned out to be something actually a lot more magical. Again, watch that video if you haven't seen it yet. But either way, after I made that video, it popped in my head. They were making handhelds. In fact, there was, as far as I know, there was a couple of handhelds and 3 or 4 tabletop style games that they were going to make, and then last minute. But we're only going to talk about these 2 handhelds that were going to be slotted out in probably, I think, around 1980. In 1979, they announced that they were going to make these 2 handhelds, and they showed at a trade show or on advertisement, I can't remember, these long units, about this long, and of course, hopefully pictures have been put up on the screen. Very reminiscent of the Milton Bradley Microvision, to be perfectly honest with you. I can't recall which one came out first, or which one would have come out first, should Atari had had the balls to put this out. We'll get to that here in a minute. But if you don't know anything about the Microvision, Willie of Arcade USA has a great series on it. Go check that out. And there was going to be 2. They were going to start off with Super Breakout and Space Invaders, which made a lot of sense because at the time they had just acquired the license of Space Invaders. And Space Invaders was like, if you were to, today would be a killer app, I guess. The super duper app. Long story short, Atari was doing okay with their home video game division until they got Space Invaders, and then they couldn't keep the Atari VCS 2600 on the shelf. So once Space Invaders was ported, they went from decent sales to just skyrocketed. So it would make sense that they would try to capitalize on that in this time period. So they had 2 set up to go. They had the Super Breakout, they had the Space Invaders. They showed them off. The press loved it. They had all the hardware finalized. They had the packaging put together. And they had all the advertisement out there. And people were getting all pumped up. And last minute Warner was just like, no. And just about everything got fucking destroyed. There are some out there. We won't talk about that. But Ray Kazar last minute. Fucking Ray Kazar. You know, if there's anything that history has shown is Atari, the Warner Atari, fucking stupid people. And Ray Kazar is a douche. I don't like the Ray Kazar era, but if you do, whatever. Either way, long story short, last minute he pulled the plug on it. And what could have been became no more. Why did he do it? Well, the one thing that was for sure, and I believe this was in an article, I got this information from, I believe, handheldmuseum.com. There was projections that handheld-style games, though very popular with the little kiddies, were not going to sell as well the next year. So he's like, you know, why put all this money into something that probably isn't going to be very profitable? And that makes sense, I suppose. But then I guess Ray also thought this could dip into the well of the home game console division. See, Atari had set up a whole toy division for these things specifically, okay? I didn't know that until I researched this video. They had an actual toy division that was started, things were researched and put into practice, and then closed just as quick as it came. And that's where these products were coming from. And he didn't want it to dip into the VCS, basically, and the future 5200. and probably the 8-bit computer lines. And you get the point. He thought somehow this would take away from that market. So it was scrapped. The problem with that is handhelds continue to fucking fight on. And we got a lot of really cool handheld LCD, LED, and VFD style games, tabletop handheld pockets, whatever you want to call it. We had mechanical ones, we had electrical ones. They were all so much fun. And Atari dropped the ball. They got scared. They didn't have the innovation to keep going. I guarantee you, fucking Nola Bushnell was still around, those things would be on the market, and I probably would have a couple on my shelf right now. But only a very lucky few have these in their homes because most of them were destroyed. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to look down at my notes just to make sure I didn't forget anything. And that's it. Super Breakout, Space Invaders, and who knew what more could have come. There are a couple of tabletop games that Atari was planning around the same time period. If you're interested, maybe I'll do a little bit of research and we'll talk about those. There were 3 specific that I can think of, and then one that's more like in tune of, like, say, that Dracula one I have. So 3 of them more like board games that are electric, and the other one's more of a tabletop game like we're used to. But if you want to know more about those, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll look into that. I know less about those than I knew about these. But regardless, guys, I hope this was informative. I hope you enjoyed and you learned something, because this is a cool part of history that kind of bums me out. I really wish these things came to fruition. Really nice looking units. I bet you the paddles were comfortable. They had a big button on the front. But Space Invaders with a paddle would have been awesome. But I don't know. Either way, guys, go ahead and leave your feedback. Thumbs up, thumbs down. All feedback to the Creep is positive. Guys, don't forget, we're giving away an Atari 7800 controller. The bottom right of your screen will be a video. Click on that link. Just read the description. Don't watch the video. Don't worry about it. And you can enter in to win a really rad 7800 gamepad. I also have this that I'm giving away. The first $50 donation to the Alzheimer's Association link is also down below. Really cool customized handheld game system. And yes, it works. A lot of NES ROMs basically on this thing. And we have a ton of those video game dust sleeves. Links to everything you need to know will also be down below. So guys, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much as always for watching. Until next time, take care, creep it real, and bye-bye.